Hello and welcome to Freethought Forum. It's a program by the Atheist Society of Knoxville and the Rationalists of East Tennessee. My name is Larry Rhodes.
And I am Ben Snyder. And we want you to know that if you don't believe in God, you're not alone. Right here in East Tennessee, you can find free-thinking atheists and agnostics. This is a show for them and for people curious about living a life free of supernatural beliefs. This is a call-in show, and we invite you to call in the number on the screen.
The Atheist Society of Knoxville is a fun meetup that often meets at a bar or restaurant. Tonight's meetup is, as usual, is at Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria for happy hour tonight after the show for food, drinks, and conversation. And Friday, we usually meet at happy hour at the Beard and Beer Market. To find us at either one of these places, look for the silver-jacketed copy of The God Delusion standing upright on the table.
The Rationalists of East Tennessee have monthly activities on the first and third Sunday mornings of the month, and they are usually lectures with lively roundtable discussion. The second Sunday of the month is a book club. The fourth Sunday of the month is the Reflections Gathering, which is a potluck afternoon gathering at a member's home.
To go to Rationalist website and check out their calendar, go to rationalist.org. Today is Tuesday, August the 19th, and in just 2 weeks we'll be up to our 3rd year anniversary of the show. 3 years. Wow. Yay. But for now we're going to go to the In the News segment, and after that we'll be talking to Dr. James A. Lindsay about his new book, God Doesn't We Do. In the news, near-death experiences have now been pretty much exposed. A surge of brain activity after the heart stops may trigger paranormal visions. U.S. scientists found something happens at the brink of death that pushes the conscious brain to a high level of arousal and potentially triggering visions. The study is the first to take a systematic look at the neurophysiological state of the dying brain after cardiac arrest. As many as a fifth of people who survive cardiac arrest report that they've had otherworldly experiences while being clinically dead. This is from the news.discovery.com, the human/health pages. Brain activity shows basis for near-death light. There may be a scientific explanation for vivid near-death experiences, such as seeing a shining light, that some people report after surviving a heart attack. U.S. scientists said Monday, stimulating the human brain. The Blue Brain Project is working to build a human brain inside a supercomputer. Apparently, the brain keeps on working for up to 30 seconds after blood flow stops, according to a study published by the Proceedings for the National Academy of Sciences. University of Michigan scientists did the research on 9 lab rats that were anesthetized and then subjected to induced cardiac arrest as part of the experiment. In the first 30 seconds after the hearts were stopped, they all showed a surge of brain activity, observed in electroencephalograph, or EEGs, that indicate highly aroused mental states. We were surprised by the high level of activity, said senior author George Mashour, professor of anesthesiology and neurosurgery at the University of Michigan. In fact, at near death, many known electrical signatures of consciousness exceeded levels which were found in waking states, suggesting that the brain is incapable of well-organized electrical activity during the early stages of clinical death. Similar results in terms of brain activity are seen in rats that were asphyxiated, the researchers said. This study tells us that the reduction of oxygen, or both oxygen and glucose, during a cardiac arrest can stimulate brain activity that is characteristic of conscious processing, and said lead author Jimbo Bjorgen. It also provides the first scientific framework for the near-death experiences reported in many cardiac arrest survivors. About 20% of people who survive cardiac arrest report having had visions during the period known to doctors as clinical death. Bjorgen says she hopes that her team's latest study will form the foundation for future human studies investigating mental experiences occurring in the dying brain, including seeing light during cardiac arrest. One thing about these particular, near-death experiences is generally when people see religious icons or religious pictures or figures during this period, they usually see the figures from their own religion.
Right.
They never have somebody like a dying Hindu seeing Jesus Christ or vice versa. So that also pretty much indicates that it's the images that were already in the brains that were just being elicited.
Being brought up,
at
similar to people seeing their deceased relatives or something
Right.
like that.
During this very tense time, and at a time when the normal processes of the brain are starting to break down.
Or under stress. Yeah. Just 2 Sundays ago, I was invited by a coworker to his church, and I went and attended. And yeah, the power of the power of people having near-death experiences or dying experiences of this sort really does affect how how strongly people will believe in religion. Some of them were describing like the fact that their relatives at death were reaching for something and they couldn't say what, but they just know it must have been Jesus or an angel or something to that effect.
Sure.
And they'd also talk about another person who, when nearly dying, believes he was attacked by demons in his vision, and thus went to church very heavily after that.
Sure.
So.
You got some news items of your own, I believe.
I have a couple. One of which is to hit on the recent violence escalating in Egypt as a result of the government cracking down on protesters who had sealed off 2 of Cairo's main squares in order to protest the ouster of the elected president Morsi. And one of the results of the ouster is that the supporters of Morsi are going around the nation torching and looting and burning down Christian schools, churches. And Christians in the country are only 10% of the population out of 84 million people. And it's really, really, really sad because there was a Franciscan school that was burned down recently, and the people who had attacked it paraded 3 nuns around as prisoners of war until a Muslim woman gave them shelter. And yeah, it's getting really bad for the Christians in that country because and like a lot of the reason that they're attacking the Christians is because they believe that the Christians were largely behind the ouster of their president, because the Coptic Christians and such hadn't really been involved in politics much until after Mubarak was unseated. And then they got involved because they wanted their people treated better, because Christians have been heavily put down in the country, and it's getting really violent against them.
Yeah, I understand that even the smaller streets are having like impromptu street barricades and checkpoints, and just from vigilante gangs that are doing that. So it's really paralyzing the city.
Oh yeah, and I mean they're killing so many people. It's pretty bad, and burning down houses. So wanted to mention that. Another interesting story, this one actually takes place here in the U.S., is that Christian couple Lori and Mike Nowland, I believe it's pronounced, are looking to construct a giant cross monument that they are calling the Great Cross. The Great Cross will be bigger in volume than the 3 Great Pyramids. It will be both a columbarium and a mausoleum, in which they will store the remains of 1 million believers, and they also intend it to be a physical memorial to Jesus Christ.
This will be a cross that's laying down on the ground rather than staying
It's
up.
not simply a cross. Even like there's a video where they've got images of what they are thinking. It's a massive rectangular building with a prominent cross designed on its top, and quotes from Mr. Nowland. The goal was to build a landmark that would serve to once again unite the body of Christ. The Christian world hasn't built great monuments for a while, and it's time to build another one. The building will be 183 feet tall, half a mile long, and cost $1 billion. It will be located in the Nevada desert near Reno. It is designed to last 10,000 years. And it will be clearly visible from space, for it is going to be as long as 10 U.S. football fields. The entire text of the Bible will be engraved inside in 4 different languages. And it's actually an interesting way that they're trying to fund this building. Is that they are basically going to raise the money through membership. Like the people who wish, I guess, to be stored in there will basically buy their lot, kind of like a cemetery would do. And so their aim is to collect $2 million, build from there, and as it goes, keep getting more funds and continue building it. It's quite interesting that this is what they're building.
And images and videos are available on the internet if you wanted to take a look at it.
Yes.
All right, moving on back to the main point of today's show, we'll be interviewing Dr. James Lindsay. He's got a new book out, God Doesn't, We Do. We can put up, there it is, you see it? Only Humans Can Solve Human Challenges. Welcome to the show, Dr. Lindsay.
Oh, thank you.
And what can you tell us a little bit about your book? You're a mathematician, I believe, aren't you?
That's correct. I'm a mathematician. And I talk a little bit about the math in the book, mostly in the 5th and 6th chapters. The rest of the book is, it's sort of along the lines of what you might expect in the God delusion or something like that.
Now, you've got a PhD in mathematics, and what kind of degree in physics?
Yeah, I have a bachelor's degree in physics, actually.
Okay. So why would one want to use mathematics to talk about God?
Well, the question of probability, really, is the primary thing. Although there are, classic arguments given for the existence of God by philosophers and apologists, and some of those fall afoul of mathematics as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just as a little bit of an introduction to the audience, can you tell us about how you came to non-belief, or how you came to be deconverted from, I assume, it's Christianity?
Yeah, actually, I was born into a Catholic family and raised Catholic. I mean, it's almost a bad joke now. You've got an atheist that says they're raised Catholic. It's pretty common. That, probably went on until I was in my mid-teen years, and my dad made a deal with me, and I didn't have to go to church anymore if I did this or that, and so I was out of church. Still, of course, believed in God, because everybody did, as far as I knew. Went to college, got to be friends with lots of people in various, denominations of Protestant Christianity, and tried to fit in really hard, and I couldn't swallow it. I tried and tried and tried, and I remember praying to be saved and not feeling anything, and then still pretending I thought it had happened. I had no idea. And then, as almost cliche as this is as well, then 9/11 happened, and the entire thinking about religion changed, and so did mine. And I got kind of new age for a little while. I was pretty informed on Buddhism. I'd read a lot about Buddhism. Kind of made up my own path on that, and slowly, mostly because of my kids, talking with them, they never believed, as far as I know, in God of any kind. Talking with them, I kind of just ended up going all the way,
So would you say that your kids were the first atheists that you'd met?
Probably the first that I knew that I had met. I'm sure I knew others that just hadn't said anything about it.
Sure. Looking at your Amazon book description, it said that famous authors like Richard Dawkins suggest strongly that it is very unlikely that God exists, but how unlikely is it? The God Doesn't We Do book brings James A. Lindsay's mathematical expertise to the question and is able to put the matter under a microscope only available through an understanding of abstract mathematics, which he makes accessible to any reader. Because of that, his book will change the conversation about the existence of God. The central theme of this book, though, points out that even if there were a God, we have no reason to believe that he does anything at all. Thus, the responsibility is on us, as it has always been, to make the world what it will be, which is, I assume, the crux of the title of your book.
Right. Yeah. The thing about the claim Richard Dawkins makes is really I was very annoyed while I was writing this book to see him being dragged through the mud. And the Telegraph, primarily, it would have been in February 2011 when I first started writing it. I was really upset to see him, say, oh, well, there's some small probability God exists maybe, but it's very low, just short of zero. And then, of course, the Telegraph reported, oh, he's an agnostic. He might believe in God. And that's obscene. So it got me thinking about the question of how small is that probability? If that question makes sense to ask, how small is it? And the abstract math I'm talking about is that around 1900, around the same time Einstein was doing what he did, some mathematicians were revolutionizing how we think about, basically how we think about the length of an interval, if those words aren't too mathematical for you. And we're able to abstract that to the point where we can talk about, intervals that have no length. And in probability theory, we say that if something has, absolutely no length to it, that it's set, that it's got, probability zero, as they say, almost surely. The example I give in the book is a little intuitive, but also slightly incorrect. But you might imagine the idea of picking the number, 1 or 5 or 10 out of all of the whole numbers, or picking any particular fraction between 0 and 1. There's infinitely many of them, but that's just one of them. So technically this could happen, but it's infinitely unlikely, and that actually gets a probability of 0 with the qualifier mathematicians use called almost surely. And my case that I'm really making, actually I've gotten more argument about that point than any other in the book. The case that I'm making is just that probability 0 doesn't necessarily mean categorical denial. So Richard Dawkins, when he says just short of 0, may not actually have to say that, because he's not wading into that indefensible water of saying, God surely doesn't exist. And so the idea that we can say probability 0, changes things a little bit, because the sort of, I call it the rock of theism, is to cling to any possibility and then explode that as if, a slight possibility makes it likely or definitely the case.
Yeah. Like the example I like to give is that, you're either going to win the lottery tomorrow or you aren't going to win, so your chances are 50-50.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like that, except in this case with the lottery, I'm just saying that the lottery could potentially have infinitely many different outcomes instead of whatever it is, 45 to the 6th or 7th power. It's a big number, but not nearly as big as infinity.
Yeah. And the probability 0 that you're talking about is the probability of a generic God?
Well, in particular, it's just, I'm not trying to, I should make this very clear, I'm not trying to prove that the probability that God exists is 0. I'm trying to say that this is a statement that doesn't automatically get dismissed. And so it needs to be given some consideration. Since then, obviously, I've spent a lot of time working on it, thinking about this idea. And it gets deeply into what's known as Bayesian reasoning. A lot of people have read famous author, or not as famous as Richard Dawkins, but somewhat famous Richard Carrier, who talks a lot about Bayesian reasoning and its application to arguments for and against God. And all of these things start assuming, well, you have to have a non-zero probability. Everything has to have a non-zero probability. But it turns out that's not necessarily even possible. So if you have, enough hypotheses, infinitely many, and they all have some positive probability, then you don't have a probability anymore. It breaks the rules of probability theory. So some hypotheses don't get counted.
Yeah.
Ultimately, a lot of people want to have this kind of a philosopher's God, or some abstract generic thing, and that's sort of where the title of the book comes back. I don't really care if they want to have that. It's not what they believe in, though. People can say, oh, well, William Lane Craig or this or that apologist has defended this philosophical God, but ultimately theirs is a living, breathing, acting agent that does stuff in this world,
right,
and that will one day judge the living and the dead.
Right.
So my case really is that particular God, the God that does something, whatever its manifestation might be, is something we really should take seriously, saying that this is something that may have no actual chance of existing, zero.
Right.
And I'd like to make the analogy, nobody blinks an eye if we say the Force from Star Wars. No chance that exists.
Right.
Or Zeus, even, to bring it closer.
Yeah, or Zeus is another great example, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Now, one of our audience members was bringing up points like if the probability for a generic God is close to zero, then what is the chance for a specific God like Jehovah, which you just addressed? But what about for a talking snake? I mean, even there. But would you say that, I mean, just for the sake of argument, would you say that that is non-zero?
To be honest with you, I mean, it's very, very tricky. A talking snake, as we know of as snakes, yeah, that's not possible because we know that snakes don't have the proper vocal equipment to talk.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, is a snake that could talk, say that one that had, come about differently, evolved differently to have vocal equipment that could talk. That's within the realm of biological possibilities. I don't think that gets a probability zero. The story in the Bible, it doesn't get any backing by the fact that such a thing conceivably could have evolved, because we have no reason to think any such thing did evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's sort of embarrassing, actually, to
It is.
think about people believing in talking snakes.
Yeah.
Do you have a comment there?
I've read a little bit of your book. I've not managed to read it all. I do like how you apply your title in what I did read. When you're talking about, God doesn't do this, people do. When you're talking about the assumptions that they make and the actions they take, I very much like the way your book flowed. Of what I read.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I should make that point. When I was actually writing the book, my original intention with the book was to be much, much more accommodationist than I ended up being. I wanted the book actually to try to reach, originally my intended audience was to reach people who do believe in God and try to disabuse them of the idea that God is doing things for them. So especially intercessory prayers.
Right.
Where they're praying, I want this to happen or that to happen, or something like that. It's not you, it is you. It's not God doing it. And same kind of thing with, God gave me the strength, or through God all things are possible. Well, no, actually, this is a great. Here's the real good news. The great news is it's been you all along.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the original intent. The problem was, as I did more and more research to write the book and write it well, I got more and more frustrated with the idea of being so accommodationist. I didn't want to leave open the possibility that I might be suggesting that, hey, there is a God, but he doesn't do anything. Now, the reason that we should be able to say that God doesn't do anything is because we have no reason to believe such a God exists.
Right.
And at that point, I'd like to remind our viewers that this is a call-in show. And the number is at the bottom of the screen, and the lines are open. I was reading your blog, and at one point on there it says, this person put on there a comment saying that they want to teach critical thinking skills to children age 4 or up. Is there any way to simplify what you've written to that audience?
That's hard, because, Albert Einstein famously remarked, or it's been attributed to him at least, that if you really understand it, you can explain it to your grandmother, implying, pretty much to anybody. Abstract probability is going to be very difficult to explain to a child, but the critical thinking skills themselves, aren't. The basic thing, if I was, not that I want to urge people necessarily on how to deal with children, but the main thing I think with them is just to get them to ask why and keep asking why, and to realize that asking, a lot of times you see a problem where adults shut down the questions of kids, either out of frustration or lack of knowing the answer, or out of reverence, which is a really weird way to think of that word. It's probably just most important to try to get children to think critically. The specific arguments, the specific ideas, the mathematics, if it is, or the science, if it is, those things will come when it's appropriate. Not to say it's not appropriate to talk to these things, talk to children about these things, but it's just abstract is hard.
Yeah, well, with the internet and today, not when I was growing up, but there's no reason to say, not to say that we just go look it up ourselves. If they ask you a question that you don't know the answer to, you can say, well, let's find out, and go over to the computer and do some research and find out.
Absolutely, and we did a lot of that here, you know, with the kids when they were growing up. But I mean, they didn't believe in God beforehand. The older one, when she was, this would have been pretty early on, when she was, you know, 7 or 8, maybe, she was already basically saying, "Why should I believe in a God who's no more real than a cartoon character?" And I was actually trying to argue against her at that point to try to, you know, help her understand why people might believe in God, or why it's reasonable at the time I kind of thought it was to believe in God. And she was just like, "No, it's just baloney." And I was so frustrated with it.
You must have been so proud.
Looking back on it, very much so, especially her strength of character.
Yeah. True.
But at the time, I was frustrated.
Yeah. But the thing about it is, I always like to tell people, I have a saying that I like. It says, the last day of school should not have been the last day of your education. You should keep learning your entire life. Learning is lifelong.
Well, you saw, I mean, at the beginning, the quote that, I don't know if you caught it, that it is the sentence that's kind of etched in my brain now that caused me to start writing the book in the first place. I finally decided I can't be quiet about this anymore. I have to do something. I don't know what to do. I'm going to write.
Yeah.
And that sentence was, "Thank God I don't have to be educated because I'm a Christian."
Right.
I mean,
somebody literally said that to me. And
yes, you refer to this person as K.
Right, and let's not forget that could be extrapolated to all the other religions as well.
Exactly. I mean, it's kind of the new thing I'm really studying right now is psychology, the psychology of religion, psychology of belief. It really comes down to the fact that in many respects, though not all respects, one of the major functions people use the notion of a deity for is as a cotton ball to stuff into the hole in the knowledge.
Right.
And we would call this, you know, phenomenological attribution if we wanted to really get technical about it with psychology.
Okay.
But they see things in the world, they want an explanation, and so here's this fluff, deity, and they cram it in there.
Right. Now, I've just been told we do have a phone call coming in, so let's see if we can find out who's on the line.
Nope.
Apparently they hung up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I really liked that quote that inspired you. It's something that I've encountered sometimes in talking with Christians. It's very frustrating when they basically just dismiss any knowledge source. It's not the Bible or not something that agrees with their position already.
Right.
The
issue at the center of that conversation was whether or not creationism should be taught in public schools. So, I mean, that of course has been raging for some weird reason again in the news over the last several years. And I had gotten into a heated discussion about it, and then bam, you know, that was the conversation stopper that she threw at me.
Right.
And that's really, really surprising to have hit it. Usually I just get told it'll get prayed for or whatever.
Right.
Okay, we're going to try this phone call again. They say it's back on the line, so we'll try it. Welcome to Freethought Forum. You're on the air. May we have a name or a nickname, please?
No.
Nope. We have a shy caller. Okay, what do you say to the people that say whether God exists or not, the discussion of a mathematical discussion of something like this where we try to make the determination of whether or not he exists is inappropriate? What do you say to that?
You know, honestly, to parse these probabilities, I actually don't necessarily disagree with them. The thing is that sword cuts both ways. It may be the case that, like I mentioned, the fancy buzz term, the Bayesian reasoning, doesn't apply to certain kinds of hypotheses, like whether or not God exists. It may be the case. That's not settled yet. But if it doesn't apply one way, it doesn't apply the other way. So there's no way at the point they can claim, well, God certainly exists because they...
But they do all the time.
Of course they do.
Yeah, and we're going to try to take this call again. Hold on. Apparently it's technical difficulties. Hold on. Welcome to Freethought Forum. May we have a name or a nickname?
Something's not
Welcome
right.
to Freethought Forum. May we have a name or a nickname?
John.
Oh, there you are.
We are getting someone now. It takes just a second for the volume to come up. Welcome to Freethought Forum. Do you have a comment or question?
Yeah, I guess I have a little bit of a question since we have a mathematician on the line. I've kind of wondered, basically, people take the probability of there being a deity with, I think, very little evidence. But inside this, just the universe, the atmosphere, we see so many different things like you can see a cloud that has a definitive look of something that you've seen before. What do you see as a mathematician probability theories as to how things like that can be witnessed, and then basically going into the God side where people take things like that and apply it to a deity.
Did you hear the question?
I want to make sure I understood it clearly because it was a little bit choppy for me. So is the question, essentially on, witnessing of incredible events like borderline miracles or something like that?
I think, if I'm correct, I think he's saying, how do you take probability when applied to things you can physically see and measure, and then apply it to something like a god that's supernatural?
Oh, right. Well, that's actually what it's kind of funny timing. That's sort of what I was just saying. It may actually not apply, but as long as the conversation is engaging on it, I want to insert my 2 cents from my perspective as a mathematician. Categorical denial doesn't necessarily come with saying probability is zero. In fact, it turns out, if we really want to be careful, the word probability doesn't apply to hypotheses. Plausibility does, and it's a statement about our knowledge of the state of the world. A good example, for instance, would be the famous thing recently, the Higgs boson that was just discovered, the Higgs particle. The particle is either part of reality or it's not. We could say the same is true of God. But what we've done is gathered evidence that tells us that whatever we're calling a Higgs particle, we have a very, very high degree of confidence such a thing is actually there. So really, it kind of comes down to the same thing for God. Where is any evidence that can't be explained by some other better hypothesis that's there? And with none, we're left seeing, simply no open door for a chance, and that means probability is zero from my perspective, but not categorical denial. So we use that qualifier almost surely, which means infinitely unlikely.
Does that answer your question, caller?
Oh yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I'll clear the line now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you live in this area, and have you seen our show before? Never mind.
He already got off the line.
Okay.
Okay.
We're going to take just a break to identify ourselves and, at the bottom of the program here. Just in case you're just turning in, this is Freethought Forum, a program by the Atheist Society of Knoxville and the Rationalists of East Tennessee. Freethought Forum is funded jointly by them and by individual contributions. Shows are live most Tuesday from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock Eastern Time on this community access television station. You can also see us streaming online outside the Knoxville area. Just go to ctvknox.org.
This is a call-in show, and we are live today, August 19th, 2013. And viewers can call in now to the number on the screen.
The Atheist Society of Knoxville, or ASK, meets 2 times a week. We have evening meetups for food, drink, fun, and conversation. ASK's purpose is to supply a venue for community, camaraderie, and outreach to atheists, agnostics, freethinkers, and other like-minded persons in the East Tennessee area. Sam, would you run the informational videos for us, please?
And are questioning your religious beliefs, or simply believe in one less God than everyone else? Well, you're not alone. The Atheist Society of Knoxville is a fun and friendly group of people just like you that meets twice a week at a bar or restaurant. We meet every Tuesday night following the show at Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria for happy hour. You'll find our group either inside or on the patio. Look for Richard Dawkins' silver-jacketed book, The God Delusion, standing upright on the table. On Fridays, we meet at Agave Azul or the Beard and Beer Market. But if you plan to preach, proselytize, provoke, or punch, please don't. We all question what we believe at one point in our lives. If this is the time for you, come join us for food, drink, conversation, and fun. Do you find stories of talking snakes laughable? Do you prefer the scientific method over supernatural beliefs? Are you concerned about religious leaders and organizations imposing their values and rules on your body, your family, and the rest of our society? Well, take comfort in the fact that you're not alone. The Rationalists of East Tennessee meets weekly for fellowship and provides a forum for people who support skeptical thinking and rational discussion of these and other issues. To find out more information or to find out about our next meeting, visit us on the web at www.rationalist.org.
Okay.
The
The Rationalists of East Tennessee has Sunday activities involving lively presentations and discussions of subjects timeless and topical. Once a month, they get together for a book club. You need not have read the book to attend, but of course it helps.
Both the Atheist Society of Knoxville and the Rationalists of East Tennessee help provide a social outlet where if you find that you don't believe in God, you'll also find out that you're not alone. And back to the program. Welcome back with us, Dr. Lindsay. Are you there?
I am.
Okay, cool. Reading from the back dust jacket, says our world is one that's filled full of difficult challenges, and many people still turn to God for solutions or credit Him with ones that they find. It's time for that kind of superstition is long past. God Doesn't We Do seeks to address the topic on philosophical grounds, making appeals to a scientific mindset and evidence-based decision making in fields where religion has dominated for centuries, including morality, politics, and even spirituality. The title says it all. God Doesn't We Do. So humans are the only people who can solve human problems, I believe is what you're saying there.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. And have you had any discussions with humanists and talked about this particular thing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of them, of course, just feel like that sentence is a foregone conclusion, more or less. So, they rally around it more than or congratulate me for using it as a subtitle more than anything else. Of course, they haven't tried to challenge it or see what I mean. I actually think the title, along with the subtitle of the book, are completely self-explanatory. Although, I do hope people will read it and engage, what I've had to say in there to understand why I'm saying what I'm saying.
Cool. You say in your Believer's Triangle on your blog that a point about the religious mind, if you wouldn't mind talking about that, a Believer's Triangle. When writing God Doesn't We Do, I made a particular point a handful of times about the religious mind. I claimed specifically that all religious believers, particularly apologists, live their mental lives somewhere in the borderlands between deluded, deceived, and dishonest. My ultimate point here with it is that they may not possess the tools or the ethics to pull apart that which is which, and so we really needn't bother. That believers think about within the triangle, or at least about their religion, and that's enough. I came up with the name Believer's Triangle today and kind of like it. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so it's very tempting, I think, if you engage with trying to criticize or comment on religious, apologists, especially their writing. It's very tempting to want to jump to the strong conclusion that they're dishonest, and in many cases it appears that way. But I don't think that that's necessarily something that's fair to do, because the level of delusion sometimes that they put themselves under, or the amount that they've been deceived by authority figures in their own lives. I mean, they may have been raised in the church, literally thinking no other way.
Right.
Makes it difficult, maybe impossible to accuse somebody of that. So the triangle kind of punts us out of having to have these fruitless accusatory discussions of whether, so-and-so, C.S. Lewis, for instance, has written, Mere Christianity. Is he being dishonest when he wrote that? Is he just mistaken? Or did somebody inform him wrong? Frankly, I don't care, why he's mistaken. It's some combination of those three. It may purely be one or two of them. It may be all three in some degree. And ultimately, I really don't think it matters too awful much. Sometimes you have hucksters and real dishonest, very apparently dishonest kind of behavior.
Like faith healers.
Like what? I'm sorry.
Faith healers who get up on the stage and have you throw their prescription drugs up on the thing.
It's really common, especially when you see the big money situations, to think that there might be, a con being played here on purpose.
Right.
Of course, I think calling somebody out as being a fraud or being a con man or something like that it's something that could ruin somebody's otherwise honest career in the cases when it is honest, and so it carries a certain standard of proof. And the point of the whole little deluded, deceived, dishonest thing is that I don't think, except in extraordinary cases, that it matters much to pick it apart. There are cases where we want to find outright deception, and when fraud can be proved, it should be and prosecuted. But for people just kind of discussing the matter or talking on the internet, especially, we've got to be cautious not to land ourselves in slander or libel.
But even if they are completely honest, we have problems with believing parents who don't give children medical care and they die because they just and that's not dishonest, but at the same time it does real harm. So we've got to be watchful for that type of thing.
And delusion, which I've kind of taken to mean being, very, we'll say, confused as a way to think it. That you're thinking something that's opposite of what the evidence is showing you when you're deluded. Or being deceived can lead to very real, bad consequences. Like the recent famous example where somebody put something on Twitter that was false, and the Dow plunged hundreds of points in an hour or whatever. I don't remember the exact details of that, but that was dishonesty that led to people being deluded, that led to real harms. And so, it doesn't mitigate the fact that there are real harms done to say that, I can't claim that, Pastor so-and-so is up there lying to fleece people out of their money. I think, the standard of proof that we accept in our society is high for, labeling somebody a criminal like that, and it should be. So I'd like to defend that by keeping that triangle, free, and say, maybe they're just confused or misled. I've certainly been misled and thought things that were incorrect, and
acted on them.
Yeah, and acted on them. It's true. Part of that whole long phase following 9/11 until, I don't know, maybe 2009 or 10, when I was kind of, following the Taoism stuff. I got into some hippie New Age stuff, to put it one way, that, was pretty, I fell for some pseudoscience. I'm not afraid to admit that, and I was frankly in a way misled, and that led to me being deluded, and then it later led to me really clamping down on accepting, hypotheses that enter, my frame of reference. So it led to a strong but informed skepticism.
Ben, do you have anything? If nothing else, I'd like to move on to your next book then, if you'd like to talk about ...
That would be great. ... has been a lot of fun. My publisher's very excited about it. We're literally wrapping up the last round of the copy editing and finalizing. The mathematically inclined people I had to read it think it's a strong read and a very interesting read. It basically kind of elaborates a lot upon what we were talking about near the beginning of the show, the infinity stuff in the book, and the God Doesn't We Do book, I should say. But I kind of got challenged on some of it, and so in the intervening time, I studied infinity a lot more than I ever had to as a professional mathematician. And I looked really deeply into it, and I thought, this is really weird, and I wanted to talk about it. And of course, again, to mention his name, William Lane Craig is famous for trying to defend the Kalam cosmological argument. I can barely bring myself to call it an argument. By using stuff about infinity. So one of the chapters in ... deals with the way Craig beats infinity up a little bit. It also, it takes to task everybody, including myself, including some well-known atheist writers that have misused infinity. It's not to call anybody out, but rather to make much more clear that infinity is a dangerous tool to talk about, and it gets messed up more than it gets used correctly. But one of the big themes of it is really that I guess, two really big themes. One is that infinity is an abstraction, and we have every reason to believe it is just a thing that exists in human minds and has been created to solve certain problems, and mathematical problems, but also theological problems, because infinity has been tacked onto God. But the problem is if you tack infinite capacities on God when we have no reason to believe infinity is a real thing, then I'm feeling it forces God to be the same kind of abstract idea that I talked about, and God doesn't, we do. So I really want to strengthen that theme. The other is that mathematics is a human tool. I hear a lot that, math is somehow proof that God exists because logic proves God or some such. But these are human-made tools, mental constructions that we use to try to describe the world. And so I really try to, bring some clarity to that discussion as well.
Well, what do you say to the people that say that, well, those concepts were there, men just discovered them?
Well, that feeling, or that stance, I guess, is called mathematical Platonism or Platonism after Plato, and he had his so-called realm of ideals where he kind of gave reality to abstractions, and this isn't trivial so far as the discussion about religion goes, because Christianity is actually built philosophically off of Neoplatonism. So it took those Platonist ideas and it really expanded on them and took the idea of perfected goodness and built God around that idea, borrowing from the Jewish Bible where it needed to kind of fill in the mythological gaps. And I really try to take a nice hard stab at Platonism here in this book, the ... because I think when you get to study something like infinity and you study it really closely, you start to see that there are some seams around the edges where mathematics starts looking really human. It seems very natural, for instance, to say, oh, well, I have this ball, and then I have another ball, so we have numbers 1, 2, 3 balls, and then I can think of adding another ball, so we get the idea of plus. But the minute we think of abstractly being able to add one more, we're condemned to the idea of infinity, because we can always add one more. Any claim that that's it, abstractly speaking at least, has to be bogus. And so we're trapped with this idea of infinity, but we have no reason to believe infinity is real. And so we end up literally going into very abstract concepts very early on from very intuitive notions. And those have been explored in great detail as abstractions. And that's okay. They don't have to be real to have abstract meaning. It's kind of one of the big points I make there. And of course I apply that to God.
One thing that gets me is when you're talking to apologists, and then you talk about mathematics and something comes up to an infinity, they point to the infinity and say, well, that's God. And they have absolutely no basis to say that. They're totally presupposition, I can't remember. I can't think of the whole word.
Suppositionalist.
Thank you. Because they presuppose God, they attribute it in infinitesimal abstracts, and then they say there it is because there's infinity. It's like me saying I built that car over there out of toothpicks. How can you doubt it? There's the car. So,
right. That actually is a really big point. I didn't think it was. It's actually in sort of a rougher form with less machinery to really strengthen the point. It's actually in the 6th chapter in God Doesn't We Do, but I really fleshed it out for ... The point is that idea, they get to infinity and like, oh, there's God. That idea can be traced to somebody. That idea really kind of came out of Saint Anselm, who was the Archbishop of Canterbury sometime in the 11th century. And he came up with a very famous ontological argument that God is basically the most good, the highest conceivable thing. Well, just like it turns out, without getting into the nitty-gritty math about it, but just like as it turns out, if we say this number is the biggest, the idea that we can add one to it always shows us that we're wrong. The same actually turns out to be true of infinity. If we say, oh, well, this infinity is the biggest, it's not true. Then the 1870s, a mathematician named Cantor showed that if we assume there is one infinity, if we accept this axiom that there exists an infinite set, then there are infinitely many sizes of infinity. And so each infinity has a bigger infinity above it. So how can there be a most high? How can there be a most anything? Most high implies that there's some kind of measurement, and then as soon as we examine and say, oh, well, that's it, the second we say, oh, God is this most high thing,
We stop.
immediately it implies there's a bigger thing. So his argument's broken.
Yeah.
That idea, though, actually, I should add for completeness, Cantor actually believed the same thing. He believed that infinity also was God, but Cantor struggled with his discoveries, and was of course a very, like many men of his age, a very, very religious man, and didn't really fully understand the full ramifications. In fact, they weren't understood until the 1940s or 1960s, well after his death. I don't know if it's related to the struggle with infinity, but Cantor actually died in an asylum, and he did have deep struggles with this idea that there's an infinite tower of infinities, and that somehow messes with the idea that God is infinity.
And we have about 7.5 minutes left in the show. We can handle another 5-minute conversation if somebody wants to call in and talk to us and talk to the author. What about the people who say that the universe could be in a simulation?
I love that, actually. It's a beautiful little philosophical toy to really get your mind going. The first obvious response to that is it doesn't really matter, because we experience the world as we experience it. But it's another one of those things. I love it because it really brings home that probability zero. I would say that the probability that we live in a simulation is zero almost surely. We don't need to take this idea seriously at all. It's literally negligible. But it's possible, so it's not categorical denial to say it's probability zero almost surely that we live in a simulation. Conversely, I say it is permissible to say probability zero almost surely that there's a God. And so it's sort of the other side of the same thing.
So you're saying there's about just as much of a probability that we're living in a simulation as we are that there's a God.
Without evidence. I mean, that's the final arbiter that changes everything in these cases. How does, if the Bayesian statistics I talked about earlier doesn't make sense, to talk about, we can still see how evidence affects things. And maybe it doesn't make sense to talk about hypotheses for which we have no credible evidence.
True.
And so until there's credible evidence, probability zero almost surely may actually, be defensible as the default position as far as we handle that hypothesis. And that's kind of the point I really want to make in that 5th chapter of God Doesn't We Do. I revisit it in ... I should point out also that ... refers to the 3 dots. When you write down, say, an infinite set, you might write 1, 2, 3, ...
An ellipsis.
And the idea there is that everything going on in infinity is trapped in those 3 dots. We only see 3 numbers, or 5 numbers, however many you write down, and then infinity of them are trapped in the dots, and we just glaze over it. 3 dots, oh, there it is, it's done. Right. But really, there's more there than we can comprehend, trapped in those dots.
It's just a symbol saying more to come, possibly more to come. We've got a call coming in, and it might be another question for you. We're going to try to take it real quick.
Hello, caller. Welcome to Freethought Forum. Can we get a name or nickname?
Jack. Did you say Jack? What was your name again, please?
There's not a divine plan for creation. What's the purpose?
What's the purpose of what?
Okay, he's asking if there's not a divine plan for creation, then what is the plan?
Or what is the purpose of creation?
Is that for me?
Yeah.
I think it's for anyone, but go for it.
Okay, there are real people, there are real animals, there are real thinking, feeling beings everywhere who celebrate, who suffer, whose experience can be made better. So our purpose isn't found necessarily in ourselves, meaning one person or me, but in ourselves as in the experience of every person, every animal, that there is. If anybody works for animal welfare or volunteers at a hospital or a food bank, they understand this implicitly. They understand that we can work to make a better life for other people. And that's where I see purpose without having to add in a divine plan.
Right. And I've always liked to say that we can not only come up with our own purpose, but we come up with many purposes for our lives, and they change over the course of our lives. We're basically in the purpose business. And we don't need an external church or being to tell us what we need to live for. We can do that quite healthily on our own.
What do you think of that?
Well, I think it's a very weak response. You ask any atheist what's his purpose on Earth, and I don't think he would come up with even that much of a response.
Well, we're both atheists.
We are atheists. All three people here you're talking to are atheists. Whether you may consider it a weak response to say we come up with our own purpose, but it is a response, and it is what we see to be the reality.
And we consider God as a weak response because there's no evidence that He exists.
Right. We consider it our response to be stronger than the idea that God gave us purpose, because we know it.
It's interesting. You spell God with a small G in your.
Well, we're not talking about any particular God.
There's more than one.
You would spell Zeus with a capital Z.
That's a name.
That's a particular God.
Right. Zeus is a name. The word God, used as we have it on the screen, is just a category of being.
Dr. Lindsay, did you have anything that you wanted to add to this before we let the caller go?
I mean, no, he's welcome to think that a response is weak. I mean, that's whatever he wants to do with it, I guess. The fact of the matter is, I don't know. In fact, I don't think there is a God, but I know there are people, and I know they suffer, and I know they struggle, and I know everybody has hard times, and I know I can help that.
We can help our fellow man.
What do you think, Jack?
Still no purpose for people suffering.
You create your own purpose. Everyone
does. Did you say there's no purpose for people suffering?
Right.
Well, I don't know that there is a purpose for people suffering unless someone...
In a godless world.
Uh-huh.
Well, would you say God then is the purpose for the suffering?
Wait, I couldn't hear what you said, Jack. Say it again.
We would euthanize those that suffer.
I didn't hear that.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat one more time?
There would be no hope. We would euthanize those that suffer.
No, I don't euthanize people who suffer. There's hope that you can get better. There's hope that you can go on to live and do other things. That's simply not realistic.
And we're running out of time. I'm sorry, we're going to have to let you go.
Maybe hope is your God.
Huh?
Maybe hope is partially your God.
We don't have a God. We're atheists.
Okay. Good evening, then.
I'm going to let him go. We're
sorry,
running
Jack. I had to let you go. But if you would like to come and discuss it further, you can come and meet us at Barley's tonight, or you can call in again next week or another week.
And we also will give a phone number here in a second. You can call and leave a message, and we'll get back to you. Dr. Lindsay, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a very interesting discussion, and we hope to have you back on again soon.
That would be nice.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jay.
Bye-bye.
It's time to wrap things up. This has been a Freethought Forum programmed by the Atheist Society of Knoxville and the Rationalists of East Tennessee. You can...
Please send us feedback. Leave voicemail at 865-272-9060 or email us at freethoughtforum@yahoo.com. You can see the show on Tuesdays from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time on this Knoxville station and at 2200 Mean Time. Sorry, I always do that.
Yeah.
At ctvknox.org.
Next week's show, the 27th, Joe and Mary Barnhart will discuss the New Age phenomenon as a naturalistic conversion. Remember, examine your beliefs.